So there's I think what's important is once you make a decision to start a business, I think it's important that you value all the work that goes into becoming a business owner. You gotta aim to be the best student, because when you aim to be the best student, the coaches actually work with you better too. So I think if you're gonna start a business because you want to be a business owner.
Once again, here we go. Know the name on the flow. Turn me up a little more.
Do you mind to just let us know exactly, who you are, what you do, other than what I just said, just in like 60 seconds type of thing?
So my name is Mike Arce. I own a lead generation company for fitness studios and wellness companies. So massage and cryotherapy all kind of fit into that mix. And doing that really well. The business has gotten to the point where it's growing really well without me. So we started getting into the world of helping other agencies grow their business and helping them with challenges that I've had over the last 3 years and overcoming those and getting to where we're at today.
Awesome. So since the podcast is called Behind Closed Doors, do you mind, like I've heard your speech, I know your story because I've been following you for a while. Do you mind to explain what were the actual behind closed doors scenes in the first year where you were struggling with the agency, and then all of a sudden, boom, it exploded, right? Because everybody sees, the nice part, and he sees now the success and everything that you guys do and everything that you do. But a lot of people don't see the struggles, and they don't see what was actually happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So like if you would pull like the three main things.
Do you want me to give you behind closed door stuff that nobody knows? Not even probably these guys? Okay.
There you go.
So during that first 5 years, it was very, very hard. And so, you can't take it out on anybody but yourself. That's kind of like rule number one of, trying to be successful is first blame you.
Yeah.
But blaming you is really hard because you can't fire you, or you can't kill you. You just have to deal with you and hope you get better. I've cracked fans in half. I've kicked fans in half. I punched a hole in my closet door. I punched the light switch and broke that. And it's just so mad, because you can't figure stuff out. And it's nothing worse in the world than working really, really hard at something and feeling like you got worse after working at it. So nobody knows that I had, that internal issue where I was just it was no one's fault. It was my wife's fault, it was my kid's fault, it was my friend's. So I had to find something to break.
Yeah.
This is really bad. And then the thing is, my whole life I didn't value learning. And so when I was in school, I didn't value structure in the learning. I think there's advantages to that, but I think there's a lot of disadvantages to that, which is now when I had to learn things, it took me a long time to learn something, and I wasn't good at learning it. So that's where I failed. You take people that have graduated college, they'd probably be able to take those things I was wanting to learn, and they'd learn it much faster than me. So I had to not only learn things, but I had to learn how to learn.
Yeah.
And now I feel really confident that if I had to go up against myself 10 years ago, I can learn a whole new concept way faster than my 25-year-old self could. But I think the biggest struggle was I just didn't have the ability to learn things, and I would more mess things up than actually make them better. So that was really tough.
Got it. So I've heard something, and I think I saw it in one of your webinars too. You mentioned something very important that I want you to share, if that's okay with you. You said at some point your wife was making around 200 plus cold calls,
230 calls a day
per
average.
day.
Yeah.
Just being the first time that she's
no
been
sales
doing
experience, no desire to do sales, and if it wasn't that we were losing money with a baby on the way, and we just got a house we were going to lose, she wouldn't have done it. There's no way she would have done it. But it's kind of like, you ever hear that story of the mother that lifted a car to save her baby?
Yeah.
So I think a motherly thing kicks in where it's you do something you normally couldn't do because you have to for the baby, maybe. And so yeah, she made an average of 230 calls a day for 5 weeks straight at 5 months pregnant. And because she was so bad at it, she got rejected a lot. That's why she was able to make 230 calls a day. A guy like me could never make 230 calls a day because I've developed skill set over the last 10 years in sales, so I'd be able to create conversations and we'd have a longer talk time. So it's literally not possible to have that many calls in a day when you have the ability to talk to them. My wife is getting hung up on and getting rejected over and over and over. So when you think about that, she's 5 months pregnant, she's emotional as it is, and she's getting rejected like 225 times a day.
That's insane, yeah. So if you would, like, what would you say, because, you hear a lot of people talking about, how to deal with your process and things like that, but when you hear, somebody making over 200 calls a day and still being rejected and still doing it for, a number of months until, you guys got to a point where you actually had somebody else making the calls and stuff, what would you say it's one thing that kept her going so bad? Well, actually, you mentioned
is the big. It was, when you're. I think people don't realize what they're capable of doing until one of two things happen. Either A, you hit bottom and you have no other choice but to learn to swim, or B, you align with a mentor or a team that like truly believes in you and they bring out stuff in you that you didn't think you had. Now, some people don't work well with the failure thing. Some people just hit rock bottom and stay there. Some people fight and make it. And same thing with mentors. Some people don't appreciate the mentors. Some people just kind of like, they think it's always gonna be there. Mentors are like, really good mentors, they're very hard to come by. Sometimes you may never get one like that again in your life. And other people I cling to them, so you can cling to mentors, and then the cool thing is they show you what you're capable of, and they see unique capabilities in you that maybe you didn't see in yourself, and that allows you to see yourself from a different perspective and now like have a better vision and work for that. So my wife was the opposite. Well, actually, she probably had both in a way, because she not only was back against the wall and she had to make it, but she also had me there encouraging her and writing the scripts for her and telling her she can do it, and how personable she was. So she kind of had both, which is really cool.
So you guys had it together, because now that you mention, you don't see it or you don't hear it too often that a couple, would do business so well together. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that
we didn't do it so well together.
Oh.
we made it by this much a few times, right? So we definitely had our fights and our arguments, and a lot of the times we argued. She was mad at herself more than me because she was failing, and I was mad at myself more than her because I was failing. But when you're in the same room with the person all day, every day, failing, sometimes you accidentally take it out on the other person. I think it's human nature.
Yeah.
And so we were human several times, and we got in arguments. But fortunately.
But you went over them, and then.
Fortunately, we didn't have that one too many.
Got it. If you would be one thing to say that it completely changed your business from the time that you guys were struggling until you made it, and of course we can probably debate this over a couple hours, but if you would be one thing. So for example, I was asking Brad from 6th Division the other day, and he mentioned an event. They spoke at an event, and then they got from there like 30% of the entire room closed on a program. What would you say for you would be one thing that completely changed? If it was a mentor, if it was, I don't know, a program, an event, or something like that.
So I actually, if you remember my talk today, the transition for that in my slides was I made a decision to become a business owner. That was the difference. So if you're let's say you're a massage therapist, you start a business, you're no longer a massage therapist. You're a business owner that provides the services of massage therapy. If you're a dentist and you own the business, you're no longer a dentist. You're a business owner that services dental patients. And so for me, yes, I was a marketer, but I was first a business owner that ran a marketing agency. So I had to learn what it meant to be a business owner, which I had no freaking clue. And so I had to learn how to manage my money. I had to learn how to work with people of all different types of characteristics and skill sets and backgrounds. I had to learn how to create systems and processes, which is not a normal, that's not my wiring. I had to create that. So there's, I think what's important is once you make a decision to start a business, I think it's important that you value all the work that goes into becoming a business owner and not just like a one-trick pony. Okay, great. You know how to do videos. Okay, great, you know how to run Facebook ads. Okay, great, you know how to do a podcast. All those things are really great, but do you have the other fundamentals? Yeah, it's like, so it's like if you said to any basketball player, right? Hey, what was that one thing that made you take off? What was the one thing that made you an MVP? Well, Steph Curry can say, well, I was able to start hitting threes from 10 feet behind the three-point line. Okay, maybe. But the reason that makes you deadly is because people have to play you up now. Now you can do all the other things, but you still know how to dribble very well. You know how to pass. You know how to play defense. You know how to drive. So all the people that are professional athletes, they all have fundamentals in the entire game, and they understand the sport. But maybe they have one thing that they're just much better at. Yep. So I think too many people try to find that one thing, but without all the fundamentals. You got to at least get all these down, and then this can be exploited. But without this, if you can't get your money right, you're going to mess up. If you can't get your people right, you're going to plateau. If you can't get your systems right, you're going to plateau. You're going to hit a ceiling because these things are stopping that. You know what I mean? So be a business owner and know what that means. Read books and get mentors for that, all those different areas.
Cool. I asked you a couple of questions back when you were done with the speech, and almost everyone you answered back to me with, I learned it from a mentor. Mm-hmm. I had a mentor that taught me this. How big do you think having a mentor could be in somebody's business, and why? I'm literally a collection of ideas from everyone but myself. Like, I don't think I've come up with any ideas that were successful on my own. I know it sounds kind of crazy and maybe like it's me trying to be humble, but it's not. Like, every idea has come from some other place. And maybe I took that to another level, like it sparked something, but some of them were fully cooked by my mentors. So there's so many people out there that have done great things that have failed already 100 times before you. And also they see things that you can't see because they're looking at it from a different angle. You're looking at first person, they're looking at it third person. So I definitely think, having coaches, having mentors is important to be successful. There's no athletes that don't have coaches or mentors. Musicians, they all have coaches and mentors. And I think as a business owner, even more, and for two different reasons. One, for that skill set that they're really great at, but also for that relationship that you can develop with them, because they've been through everything you've been through. And now you can have, I've had conversations with mentors at 2 a.m. when I was struggling to sleep because I was very upset with where I was in my business. And I can call someone at midnight and talk to them till 2 a.m. and they'll be there. And they've been there. And they tell me I know, man, I know. And that alone makes you feel better, because just knowing that it's not a you thing, it's a what you're going through thing, mm-hmm. that makes you feel better, So I think mentors are huge. It can be a lonely world if you don't have that, I think. Awesome. If you want to see the same blueprint that generated more than 7 figures in my own business and that my private clients are using every day to get insane results, you can get access to it for free, and the link is right in the description below. Nowadays, everybody has access to the same type of information, right? You can go on Google and find everything. You can sign up for online courses. You can watch videos on YouTube. You can listen, podcasts, mm-hmm. Audiobooks, everything. Why would you say some people make it and so many more don't? What would be, a couple things, or maybe not one thing, but what would you say would be the most important things that people don't do to actually break it through?
Yeah, I think that if you give 100 people the recipe to cook a dinner, I think maybe 5 or 10 of them will come out tasting the same. I think somehow they'll all taste a little different, and some of them will taste really different. This guy put way too much salt, didn't follow the instructions. This guy forgot to put in the butter. This guy forgot that. You have 5 people that it came out perfect for. And some people came out better than what the recipe called for. So, I talked about in my talk, my goal is every time I work with a coach, my goal is to be their best student. The one that they brag about, the one that they use in their presentations, the ones that they bring up in the testimonial videos, they show it to the top so that they want all the people they want to sell to see that video. Because I already, why am I gonna say, okay, I'll hire you and then I'll do it my way? No, I'm gonna hire you, I'm gonna do it 100% your way. And then and everything I've learned from a coach or mentor, at the beginning I did it the way they told me to do it, but then I've modified it after it worked. cool. It worked exactly the way it was supposed to, but now what can I add to it? You know, so my coach Billy Jean taught us a lot about the Facebook strategy. We've added so much to it since then. Mark Lack, you know, taught me so much about reaching out to guests and for the show, and we've added so much since then. Dave Burke taught me about people and stuff we could do with culture, and so much we've done since then. Chris Franzio taught me with systems and organization, so much we've done since then. But before we added things, the first thing we did is we followed it to the T until we hit the point where they said, you've done it. And then at that point, then we made it our own. So I think a lot of people don't make it because they try to make it their own too quick, or they're not patient enough, or they don't follow the instructions. They think they know better and they get a little cocky with it. You just got to follow the recipe sometimes, and you gotta aim to be the best student. Because when you aim to be the best student, the coaches actually work with you better too, and they give you more resources than what you initially paid for. When you're like a lazy student or half-ass, they don't find the value in putting as much attention to you. I think mainly because they feel like they may even be wasting their time. It's just not fun for them.
Yeah.
They don't get energized by you. They've got to be energized by you. You know, like with my coaching clients, when I coach someone, they're like, Mike, I did this. I'm like so excited. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. How'd you do all that? In a weekend, that's crazy. That's awesome. And I can't wait to show them more. But when I'm like, hey, did you do this? No, I didn't get to it yet. I'm like drained from that meeting because I feel like I wasted the last one. Now I'm here again. Now I just feel wasted. So I think some people don't make it because they don't
follow the
100% and give it their all and like work to over deliver on their coach's instructions.
Cool. So the audience of this podcast is mostly millennials, right? And you know, maybe some of them, they're gonna listen and say, yeah, but I don't have money for a coach. Mm-hmm. What would be, I don't know, the first couple steps to get to that level to actually be able to afford one? And when do you think somebody's ready to actually, you know, invest and go, all right, I can figure out on my own, I gotta have somebody mentor me or coach me or whatever.
I don't have the money for a coach is another way of saying, I don't think I should pay for that yet. I think the first thing you should do is you say, okay, what coach do I wanna work with? You say, okay, I wanna work with this guy, like this guy, like this guy. What do they charge? Okay, this guy's gonna charge me $1,500 for a couple hours. This guy's gonna charge me $5,000 for the day. Okay, so I can do this one. I think that's impactful, and I can $1,500. Okay, now that you have $1,500, now you got to say, what do I have to do to make that money? How many clients do I have to sell? What do I have to sell? Because the next few sales are going to be dedicated to that. I won't put any of that towards my bills, because you can be late a couple months on most bills.
Get the point. Yeah.
You can be late a couple months. You just find more value in paying your phone bill this month than you find in getting your coach this month. I went 9 months without paying my mortgage. I got my car repossessed twice because I didn't make those car payments for 3 months and then 3 months. So I valued working on the business more than paying those bills, and I'll deal with the car when that happens. But what I'm not gonna do is have the car and deal with, you know, below average forever. You know, I can get my car back. It's very hard to get that like window back. So you can afford a coach. Like everyone can afford a coach. You just have to say, like, what do I have to do to get that? Anybody can get $1,500 if they want to. I guarantee you, if I said, hey man, here's the deal. I got my agency, it's working great. In fact, it's making money without me. We got 2 people running it. You just have the business. Just give me $1,500. They'll find it by lunch.
Yeah.
If I said, hey, I got a brand new Lamborghini, take it, sell it, do whatever you want with it. Just give me $1,500, we'll call it square. You get $1,500 by lunch. You know?
Just how you position that question.
Yeah, because they find the value. They can immediately see the return. But because they don't immediately see the return. I immediately see the return because I now understand that as long as I aim on being the best student and following the instructions, I will get my return. I've been without a doubt always right on that. But some people, really, they're not doubting the coach as much as they're doubting themselves and what they can do. Put yourself in a position where you have to perform. Make yourself really uncomfortable, and you'll actually find out that you're more capable than you thought.
Awesome. Great advice. All right, we're getting close to wrap things up here. If you would be one thing to leave the audience with, what would you say would be from your own experience? One advice to give everybody that wants to start a business, they have their own and they want to, improve it and things like that.
I think you should know why you want, and I say this in other podcasts too, you should know why you want to start a business. I wouldn't be a business owner today if I didn't have to be. I was happy working for someone else. I actually enjoyed it, and I felt valued, and I was making money, and I was in the decision-making process in the most recent job, so it was kind of cool. And I didn't think about being an entrepreneur. We had to create a job. My wife had to deal with that pregnancy issue, getting fired, and all that stuff. So I think, I think like when I look at people on my team, for example, there's people on my team that are like, I just want to be a part of something that's great. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy what I do, but then I want to like go home and hang out with the family and
time.
Yeah, and I think some people, even people that are business owners, they didn't realize what it was going to be like until they were in it. And then a lot of people quit being a business owner. It's like 8 out of 10 people fail and never come back or something like that. So a lot of people quit being a business owner because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. And so I think if you're going to start a business because you want to be a business owner, because right now it's like a trendy thing to be, I think, like an entrepreneur, like the guy with the hoodie and the chucks and the, backpack, which is funny because I think that's what I wear a lot of times. But, but like a lot of, I think it's like a trendy thing to be. But if you're starting a business because like what you want to build doesn't already exist, or something that you enjoy doing doesn't already exist, or you can't be a part of, then cool, go ahead and make it. Because you want that to be there and it's not. But if you don't have that and somebody else does, then if your vision is to see that thing come to life, why not just work with somebody on making that come to life? Why have the need to make it your own thing? So I think it's just a lot of people, it's that trend. I want to say I'm an entrepreneur. Like a lot of people like post, hustle, grinding 24/7. It's like, dude, you're not grinding 24/7. You're posting right now. You're lying right now because that took you time. This is not the grind, right? So I think a lot of people they want that lifestyle. Picture them on the beach, my office for the day. It's like, come on.
Awesome.
So I think just number one, really learn what it really means. Maybe even work for free for an entrepreneur for like a month or two and say, hey, look, I just want to be your assistant. I want to follow you. I want to see what it's like. And then from there, then you get an inside look, and maybe it's what you thought it was. Go ahead and do it, but just really know what you're getting into before you get into it and be prepared.
Great advice. Awesome. Guys, I hope you implement everything that Mike said today. He gave some amazing value here. Again, thanks a lot for taking the time to share your thoughts with us. Where would you like people to reach out to you? Instagram, Facebook, your website? We'll put them all in the description.
So my website is mikearce.live, and my last name is spelled A-R-C-E. But Mike Arce Live is my handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so you can follow me on those places as well.
Awesome. And before we go, Mike actually has also a course if you want to learn how to grow your digital agency, where they can find that.
So there's a cool course that I think everyone should take because it was hugely important for me growing. And if you go to sellusingvideo.com, you can see pretty much for free like what we did there. And then also like our podcast and like how that works for us at startvideopodcast.com. And you can learn some more stuff there. And so those are the two links I think people should go to.
Awesome. Thanks a lot again.
Thanks, man.